Thanks for being here, guys.
Hi.
Pleasure.
Okay. All right. Show of hands in the room. Who knew anything about Garfield before you sat down in this theater today? On the stage. Well, you guys know, but yeah, not many. Not many, right? How about you guys? How much of an awareness of this story did you have, if at all, before you signed on?
Nothing.
None.
Really? Ted, you hadn't read the book or anything like that?
No.
Before, no.
No, before.
No.
You read it during?
Yeah. The Destiny of the Republic.
Sorry, he's doing
Yeah.
my job for me. Destiny of the Republic. Yeah,
brilliant
exactly.
book. Candice Millard's book. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of friends would say, "Oh, you know, Guiteau from the music from Assassins, the Stephen Sondheim musical."
Right.
But that I didn't know that either. So yeah.
So we're coming into a story that
I'm more of a Sunday in the Park with George guy.
Kind of right. Yeah. Company as well. Yeah.
we're coming into a story that happened such a long time ago and has been, as the title card at the beginning says, like basically forgotten by everyone. Is that freeing to come into a situation like that where you can build the character kind of based on what you think it should be and what the script says? Talk to me about coming in a little bit cold on a historical figure.
Well, it's funny. I was talking to somebody about this, and they said, "Well, was there any footage for you to watch?" I was like, "You're not seriously asking me that, are you?" I was like, "No." There's a lot of pictures, and I think we both honestly got a lot from just looking at pictures. I mean, you obviously, particularly if you're playing a president, there's a lot of reading to do, scholarship, whatnot. But there was a lot of just looking at portraits of them, because picture really does have 1,000 words, you know, and I know you found those very helpful.
I really did, yeah. It sort of makes you think, because also they're quite eerie, some of them, so it lets your imagination go in interesting ways. And yeah, I loved sort of, and also there's less of a pressure, isn't there? Because we're not, people don't know what they look like. It's not, you can sort of, there's a bit more leeway, and yeah.
But there was this interesting process about halfway or so, 2/3 through the shoot, where we were actually doing photos, like the old, you know what they're called, tintype photos, where we were trying to recreate these images, and yeah, I found that very.
They were fantastic.
Yeah, that was kind of thrilling to make those things. Yeah.
Especially for you, Matthew, you look at that photo, that tintype photo of Charles, maybe the first one you saw. What instantly struck you about looking at that man?
I felt very weirdly, because he's a slightly grotesque character in real. I mean, it's a retelling of the story, so I get maybe he's a little more sympathetic in our story. I don't know, but I found there's something quite sweet about him and well-meaning, and you just feel sorry for he's like the little guy who was like pick me, and I'll join in, and he just wants to be part of something, and so that resonated with me, and I got that from the pictures. He wasn't very prepossessing or particularly. He was sort of odd-looking, and he kept failing at things and kept trying. He had an abusive father, and so that was all. Yeah, it was really fascinating to play.
Michael, I'm wondering if you can talk to me about building Garfield's family life, which I feel like is such a huge part of this show and of making him a well-rounded character. I never thought I would cry over the death of President Garfield, but that definitely happened by the end of the show. That's all because of the scripts and the performances. Talk to me about playing with Betty, building that life for the two of them.
Yeah, Betty Gilpin.
Yeah, we can definitely.
Betty Gilpin. Betty Gilpin. I've been texting with her a lot today, actually. She was very sad that she couldn't be here for the premiere last night, but surprise, surprise, she's working. Me, not so much. She's in Vancouver. But, God, when she came on the set, because my tenure on this project started with the convention. And that's just a big old fat sausage party for days. I mean, just a bunch of guys.
How many? Like
screaming.
2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Yeah. I'm like, damn.
I flew home.
Yeah. You were like, get me away from this.
Fine.
Sanity.
I was not needed.
Yeah. You didn't want to like Where's Waldo it and just be like Charles Guiteau and it. Yeah.
Yeah, with my flag.
Yeah. But so it was such a relief. The set that's our house. They actually built this house out in the countryside. this crew was unbelievable. The Hungarian crew.
They planted a field of corn,
They
right?
planted a field of corn
Yeah, it's
next to the
extraordinary.
house.
Yeah.
Wait, did you guys eat the corn?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't eat corn. I just eat gluten. I'm the opposite. But when we were out at that house, and you'll see more if you keep watching the show. It was my favorite place to be with the kids, with Betty. We had so much fun. We were always cracking each other up. We would improv during takes, which is pretty rare for television, frankly. They usually you usually got someone like Aaron Sorkin standing there being like, where'd you put that comma? Who do you think you are, boy? But like we were just, and I think it's also just because Mikowski, who created the whole damn thing, who also deserves a lot of love and respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, this guy managed to get this show on Netflix, a show about, like it says at the beginning, two people that nobody knows anything about, set in the late 1800s. So anyway, it was my favorite place to be. It was my favorite place to be with them and the kids. And I don't know. I'm so glad that it was just part. I don't think you can tell the story of Garfield without telling that story. I mean, and look, this is a crowded story. There's a lot of characters. There's a lot of storylines, and it's hard to navigate all of that. But I feel like Betty so concisely, quickly. You learned so much through her performance, in such a short amount of time. Because like that little scene we have in episode 1, after I get news that Sherman wants me to give the speech, I just love doing that scene with her. She's dynamite. Yeah, and the other kids not so much, but she was a real winner. Yeah.
Are any of their parents in the room tonight? We should probably. Mike Wachowski's scripts are amazing. I mean, the tone of this surprised me when I first started playing it. Anyone else, like the humor that we see come through? Were you guys well aware of what the tone would be like? Did you think it might be a little bit more serious going into it?
There's always a slight worry with a period piece. You think, oh, this is going to be a bit dry and dusty and like a civics lesson. But it didn't. I mean, the scripts just weren't like that. And also, a lot of it is Matt Ross, our magnificent director who, has a keen, who was an actor, was an actor, and so has a keen eye for the, mining all kinds of gags or levity that they're, So it's good, and it means that if you're able to be funny and you're able to find the humor, then you can explore the darker sides, and you've sort of, it's yeah.
I mean, once you let Nick Offerman into the pen, you know that.
Yeah.
It can't be all serious, right?
Michael, talk to me about Garfield's a man of integrity at a time when patronage and bribes and favors were very much hasn't been since the currency of DC. What did you connect with in him? Why was he able to hold that kind of moral core, do you think?
I think it's just, at the end of the day, it's a choice. It's a choice people make to be that way. You can say, well, it's a matter where he came from, how he was raised. I think I heard Mikowski say last night, this is the last president of the United States that was born in a log cabin. It was Garfield. And he was born in extreme poverty. His father was dead. He worked his tail off. When him and Crete met, Betty, she was going to college, actually, which was, kind of a rare thing for a woman back then. And he was the custodian. He was, like, cleaning up the school. Wow. And he would slip her little love poems. And that's how they got together. So
he was self-made.
Yeah, he was completely... And he had done all the things. Like, he'd been in state government, he'd been a congressman, he'd been a secretary. He'd seen the whole he was one of the most qualified people. But a friend of mine who came to premiere last night, who's Muslim, he said in Islam, you're not supposed to desire power, and it's commonly known that the people that don't desire power are probably the ones that are most likely to know how to deal with it if they have it. I think he just looked at it like he embodied the notion that people in politics are not in power. They're servants. They're even more servants. They're supposed to be more servants than us. Like they serve us. That is their job. And I think Garfield embodied that. Yeah.
He was so clever. I read that he was able to write in Latin and Greek.
He was ambidextrous. Yeah, he's smart as a whip.
Yeah.
Another tradition that has maintained in politics. Yeah. Matthew, Charles goes, I think in the episode we just saw, goes from saying, "Who is James Garfield?" to stealing money and hopping on a train and yelling that he's going into politics within, the space of a few
Again,
scenes.
he just wants someone to hang his hat on. Yeah.
Well, why him, though? There's so many players at that time. Why do you think he connects with Garfield?
I think unlike Conkling or any of those people, or he just gets pushed to the ground and pushed out, and he grabs Garfield's hand, and Garfield takes the time to say a few words to him and look him in the eye
and say, "I expect great things of you too."
Yeah, and because Charlie's not. Because he is delusional and unwell, really. That's the biggest thing in the world, and it's someone saying, "I believe in you, and I expect great things from you," and so that's enough for him to be like, "I'm your man."
We see him pivot so much and lie so much and turn on a dime so much, and there's that idea that people who lie so much don't even think they're lying because it's.
No.
And you play, I will stop talking and ask a question in a second, but you play him without guile. There's not a lot of conniving mustache twirling going on, right? That's not who he was.
I think he really believes he's doing the right thing at each turn.
I guess that's my question. Do you think that there was any kind of end game? Did he actually think he would be at the French consulate?
I think he did, yeah.
Really?
I think he suffered from delusions of grandeur and narcissism and all. Yeah, I mean so he really thought he deserved those positions because he'd campaigned for Garfield, and he thought he gave this speech to about 3 people, this dreadful speech, and he really thought that was the thing that got him elected, and so he would be given a consulship and so when he didn't. Took it very badly.
Well, and it's also so sad. There's such a creativity and a passion there, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you could sort of channel him, he'd be an asset. Not a drain, but a credit.
Absolutely.
As he says. Yeah.
We talked a little bit about the cast: Betty Gilpin, Nick Offerman. We're coming back to Nick in a second. Don't worry. Bradley Whitford, Shea Wiggum, Paula Malcolmson. I mean, you guys have an embarrassment of riches here.
Paula is fantastic. My God. Yeah.
So good.
Wonderful.
Were you all? Obviously, things are shot in pieces. Was there any time where you were all together on set? Did you guys get to chat about this at all, or was it all very piecemeal?
It was really very separate until we had these sporadic. But I remember about halfway. It seemed about halfway through the whole thing where you organized a dinner.
Yeah, we had a few dinners in Budapest. Yeah,
which was nice because I felt like up until then I hadn't really. Laid eyes on you much.
No, we didn't. We had that handshake, which you've just seen, and then our scene in the 3rd episode, and that's it, really. Yeah.
So, I guess it feels like the person I spent the most time with was Bradley throughout the series, because he becomes my Secretary of State.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. And then Nick. As he gets involved. I don't mix it up with Shea too much. Although, he's I've known Shea and Nick both a very long time. Yeah.
Well, so I want Nick Offerman stories. Just good. Chester Arthur is such a great character in this.
He probably has the most profound emotional journey in the whole story.
Absolutely.
Actually, yeah.
So give me some shenanigans. Give me, like, you're in a scene with him. Is he riffing? Are you riffing? Like, you in particular, I'm thinking of the scene in the bathroom, which I don't want to give away too much, but oh my God, it's amazing.
The boring truth and the honest truth is that he's just a supremely lovely, generous, attentive, he's just a brilliant actor and a gorgeous human being. And so, you know, and he can build a fucking canoe and carve a table, and
I know. I want to hear stories of him like whittling off on the side.
Yeah, I mean, he can do a lot. You know, he's brilliant.
He
He's
took
just,
advantage of the cooling vests because he had a lot of stuff.
Yeah, well, he had a fat suit as well.
Yeah. So he had a vest. Keep this in mind should you find yourselves in this position, where they had like hoses running through it that they could hook them up to a machine between takes and run cold water through the pipes in his vest. Yeah, and that's how he survived.
Extremely
the
hot
shoot.
and
Yeah, it was
hungry,
very hot. Anytime we're coming in and out of the convention,
Yeah.
oh my God, was that hot? That was so damn hot. That was a building, an actual building on the kind of the main park there in Budapest. Yeah, but yeah, the thing about Nick is he's really not as goofy as he's capable of being on camera. He's so hyper professional and like he's very polite to everybody, makes everybody feel very special, and anxious about like screwing it up and not like holding up his end of the bargain or whatever, which is kind of a quintessentially Midwestern kind of personality, I think. And he is a very Midwestern fellow. But I've known Nick since we did theater in Chicago. I met Nick when I was a teenager. Yeah, he wasn't much older than me. That was back in the early '90s, I think. Yeah.
You guys mentioned the costumes. Are you someone who likes to build character from the outside in or inside out? How much does it help you to put on the clothes and see? Does it matter?
With this, it's huge, right?
huge. Yeah, it affects the way you walk and sit. And
Give me a sense of how many, all the ladies in the room are going to enjoy this. Give me a sense of how many layers you had on, because I feel like it's always the ladies in period dramas who have the corsets and this and that. But you guys you had a lot of stuff on, right?
You had a lot. Well, you had like starched collar. I was much more greasy and
That is true.
pretty unkempt.
That is true.
And we decided to make my Guiteau's clothes slightly too small or too big, so it was slightly childlike. So he's always like, like he was he was like wearing his big brother's school uniform, just But yeah, you had starched
Betty
collars.
was always unclipping her corset.
Yeah.
Because it got hot out on that farm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
she was
ladies have
always-
it much
yeah.
harder. Like,
Yeah.
it's not fair.
I always had these like really. They have these fronts. They're like really hard,
bibs.
like
Yeah.
shirts that they starch them and they're like really. I don't know. They like stone or something, and then you got to put these little studs in them that keep popping out all the time. Yeah, it was maddening.
Well, and we also, I would be remiss if we didn't talk about the glorious beards in this show, glorious facial hair. How much was added on? If it was added on, how much of a bitch was it to take off at night? Like, talk to me about what was happening on your faces.
Mike did the full Monty, like, it was just beautifully clean shaven, handsome.
Yeah, I
man, and
can't
on
grow
and off.
facial hair like that. That would never happen. Period. Yeah. But you can.
I did.
You're
I
a
grew
real
a beard,
Yeah.
and then it was augmented. Yeah, into the sort of Rumpelstiltskin little.
Well, the length kind of fluctuates, doesn't it? It sometimes
little-
it seemed a little shorter or longer.
Yeah, sometimes maybe it was sort of, I don't know. It was Well, I had this heroic makeup artist called Yana who every morning it was like an hour and 20 minutes in the chair.
What was the timing
feeding-
like for
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Wait, was it like little? I'm sorry, I'm very into this. Was it little pieces of beard, or was it like?
Because my beard was quite big, and then she would add little bits of. It was sort of laborious and painstaking, but really it's just amazing. And then it all comes out.
It looks real good, right?
Yeah.
It looks real good. Michael, let's go back to the convention. You mentioned it. 3 weeks? You said 2 or 3 weeks of shooting.
Oh
gosh, something like that.
They won't know the difference if you lie.
Well, you would know because you left.
I went home. Yeah, so it was a good 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks. And how much of what we saw was actually there? Was there any crowd fill or anything like that?
Okay, so like, a lot of it was there. A lot of it was there. There were a lot of extras. Yeah. A lot of, but there's no way to really. I mean, what you see when I discovered that room and looking all the way back, I mean, you saw how big that was. We couldn't have built that. So I'd say maybe it was like 50-50. Like the front half was real, and then it dissipated into CGI. But yeah, I talked to Matt a lot about it, about trying to communicate with all the. I mean, you've never been in a situation like that. And we both came to the conclusion that no matter how well I orated, there's no way that all of these people could possibly hear what I was saying, because there's no amplification back then. There's no microphones, So you just give it your. That's why it's so funny when Joy comes up for Blaine. I mean, there's nobody can even hear what he's saying. He's basically talking to himself. But I tried to hit the back wall, but the back wall wasn't actually there. So it's kind of a fool's errand. Yeah.
And there's that speech, right after. I want to make sure I get the character right. Sherman tells him, no one would give a speech like that if some part of you didn't want it. What's your take on that?
I just think Garfield got very passionate about what he was saying. I think for Garfield is like, it could be me, it could be somebody else. I just want somebody to do this. I don't know who, but I know that this is how it should be.
But also there is that thing, and you see this later on, and that's what's especially moving with the scenes with you and Betty, I'd say, is that Garfield's not without ambition or vanity or pride, and that's what makes him so human and attractive and relatable, and So it's in the mix, but it's not a power, but not by any means a power grab, but yeah.
No, I agree. I really don't think he went to the convention with aspirations for becoming president of the United States. I think when he showed up, he's like, I'm going to give a speech.
Genuinely horrified that.
Yeah. He's like, well, because, frankly, if you do any research at all, you'll come to find out that his work in D.C. had a negative impact on his family and his relationship with his wife, which was one of the reasons he was trying to spend more time at home, because he was he kind of screwed up. So but Creed was so important to him that he didn't want to do that. So he was just trying to stay home as much as possible. But I look, there are some days where I want to be a famous actor. They're rare, but it happens to everybody.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, you should clap for that. We're almost out of time. As you guys mentioned, you don't have a ton of scenes together, but there is one coming up in episode 3. And it's pivotal. It kind of everything goes out from there. Any special prep for that? Any feeling? I mean, do you guys rehearse much? Is it? Talk to me about the process of making that particular scene happen.
We rehearsed that scene? No,
we didn't want to.
No, and it was. We said this a lot, but it came right at the end of the shoot, so it was sort of perfect. So I'd spent most of what I've done was trying to get to Garfield and trying to, and then I guess 2 weeks before we wrapped, I'd gotten to him, and it was sort of lovely. And all I had to do was look at Mike and sort of played itself. And if you have, if you're working with a brilliant actor and you've got a brilliant script, it's just a pleasure.
Yeah, the writing in that scene is just dynamite.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great note for us to end on, I think. Can we give a hand for Michael and Matthew?